Hey there, my friends. Happy Friday Eve day to everybody. You guys know how I do this every single week. I'm using StreamYard. I've got Facebook and YouTube here on my laptop. YouTubers, I want you to smash the subscribe button so you never miss one of my live weekly trainings coming to you every Thursday at 11:30 Central. And if you're coming to Kelly and I through Facebook and you haven't already told Facebook it's okay for us to see your name, your Facebook username, then please go to streamyard.com/Facebook. It just takes a second. Give permission for Facebook and StreamYard to talk to each other. Otherwise, in my StreamYard dashboard, your name shows up as Facebook user and not your name. And Kelly and I don't know who you are, and we can't shout you out. If you've already done that step, though, on the device that you're using right now, you are good to go. Again, that's streamyard.com/Facebook. All right, today, you know I love to bring good guest experts to you guys. And today, the outstanding Kelly Hale is here. And I don't know about you guys, but sometimes when the overwhelm creeps in, and you know what I'm talking about, it can be super freaking sneaky, right? And it tries to fake you out by one day coming in and wearing a green dress. The next day she comes in wearing a red dress. And we have to go, no, 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 overwhelm. I see you. Well, Kelly is here. She is going to help us find a way to deal with those feelings, the stress, the anxiety, the doubt, all the crap that bubbles up for us. And she's going to teach us how to do this quickly and naturally. She is going to bless us, you guys, with that information today. And I cannot wait. But first, just in case this is the first time we have ever met, I am Tracy Beavers. I'm an award-winning business and sales coach with over 20 years of experience in marketing, sales, and business growth. And several years ago, I became completely, finally, 100%, it took me a while, fed up with corporate America. And I hatched a plan to leave. But once I did, you guys, back in my second full year of business, my business boomed. And I busted through the six-figure ceiling, and I haven't looked back. Now, I'm sharing that with you because if you are building your business alongside a full-time job, kids, family, Kelly and I were just talking about being in the sandwich generation where we're also taking care of our parents, and you're feeling like you're never going to get there, if I can do it, you can do it. And if you've already ditched corporate and you're a solopreneur and you're sitting there going, oh gosh, is this how it ends? Am I going to have to go get a job? I got you. You can do this. You can build a six-figure business just like I have. I have coached hundreds of entrepreneurs just like you to get the visibility you need online to grow your email list so you can get that consistent monthly income that you really, really want. Now, as we go along, Kelly and I want you to pop your questions and your comments into the chat for us. We love to make this super interactive. We are going to answer those at the end. And I know she's an open book. I'm an open book. You know that. So ask us anything, including if it's about your business. Ask me. I'll help you. And if you're coming to us on replay, comment with your questions and your comments. And if I don't know the answer, I will tag Kelly and she will swoop in and she will answer it. So let me introduce you. Cannot wait for you to meet this lady. Kelly Hale has more than 25 years of experience in wellness and the rehab field as an occupational therapist. She specializes in restorative movement. I love just the way that sounds. Restorative movement and nervous system regulation. She is an expert, y'all. She has so many certifications, including Pilates, brain gym. I'd love to know more about that. Body ecology, integrative manual therapy, and so many more things that I cannot believe her brain has not exploded. Her work is sought after because she has this unique synergistic approach that goes beyond just a diagnosis and here's a few things you can do, right? She gets into the root cause of what is tripping up your body so that she can really help you. Like looking at your cranial sacrum system disruption. I'm not smart enough to know what that is. And anything that's wrong with your nervous system, because you guys know there's so much to the human body that sometimes the root cause isn't what we think it is. So Kelly, I'm so excited that you're here. Is there anything you want to tell everybody about you before we dive in?
Well, thank you. I am just grateful to be here and share in this wonderful community. I love the energy that you bring, Tracy, and the energy of the community. I think the biggest thing that I would add to that is just that I've been on a very personal journey with nervous system regulation as well as professionally. And sometimes I talk about how I'm a former meditation dropout. Like I couldn't sit still in silence and I couldn't quiet my mind. I needed it because I was really revved up as a business owner in my 20s. We can talk about that if you like, kind of crazy journey. And yet I couldn't find the calm and I would beat myself up. But I ended up having to meet my client or meet myself where I was, like I do for my clients. I would never berate them for struggling through something. And so I realized I had to go back to one of my very first loves in life, which is movement.
Yeah.
And I wanted to find a moving program that would integrate and calm my nervous system that really honored what I needed, and I couldn't find it. You know, I'm a longtime Pilates practitioner, started my Pilates professional Pilates journey in 1999. That's going to age me right there. And I love Pilates and I still do to this day. I have all the apparatus that we use, but I wasn't feeling the mind body connection that they talked about. And with all due respect, Joseph Pilates developed the work way before we had all the devices and the distractions and the intensity and the stress that we have today.
Right.
And I would go to yoga class and I would feel somewhat calm at the end, but I just couldn't find what I really needed. And by helping myself, I also was helping my clients because I didn't find what I needed until I was going to courses and studying to help my clients. So I think to sum that up, that was kind of long-winded.
That's
Just
okay.
the idea that I have personal as well as professional experience with the struggle to move beyond overwhelm, to feel organized and centered and grounded. So I come at it as someone who's constantly tweaking my practice as well as supporting others in their practice.
Yeah, I think that's what makes us good at what we do is when we have personally been through it. And the one thing when you said I was a meditation fail, I am I'm like, people go, you have to start your morning routine with yoga and meditation and mindfulness and journaling. And no, I am not that girl. I'm sorry. I try so hard to do meditation and I just couldn't do it. And I would beat myself up for it. I really would, because I'd be like, what's wrong with me that I can't do this? So I cannot wait for this conversation because I know you're going to be able to help me too. So let's just dive in right kind of where we left off. How long have you been an entrepreneur? Like, when did you start to decide that you wanted to work for yourself? And then kind of go back to what you were saying and expand on a little bit more when you said that you had to find your own way with nervous system regulation. Where did that all fit in?
Absolutely. Sure. So I opened a brick and mortar, the first multidisciplinary rehab and Pilates studio clinic in 2001 in my 20s. So I really didn't know what I didn't know. Like I really had no business like opening a business, but I was passionate.
Right.
And honestly, you talk about leaving the corporate world, which I completely understand and respect. I left the healthcare world. I left the healthcare factory because
Wow.
I was seeing a patient every 20-ish minutes. And I'm like, I can't treat the whole person. And as OTs, we treat mental and emotional as well as physical. So I was getting frustrated. I couldn't provide the care that they needed. And I was working full-time as an OT in a clinic. And then I was moonlighting, offering fitness, wellness services in the evening, and then teaching seminars, traveling the country. So talk about burnout, right? I very quickly depleted my adrenals. But in 2001, I opened this unique setting and hired team members and brought team members on. And I was also newly married, trying to start my family. And of course, I was having challenges with fertility. And I know a big piece of it was the level of stress that I was carrying, working, 12-hour days with people and then doing paperwork, administrative work after, and often doing that 7 days a week. I know a lot of you can relate because when you're starting a business, you go to that place.
Yeah.
And so I can remember the space, exactly what it looked like. When I sat one time trying to meditate, because when you go to fertility specialists, they're always like, do Pilates, do yoga, meditate. I'm like, sure, I'm doing it all. And it's not working. And I can't calm myself down.
Right.
And so I remember that moment. And then I decided I felt like such a fake. We talk about imposter syndrome. I'm like, here I am inviting people to take good care of themselves and to be in a place where they do movement and nourishment that honors the body, mind, and heart space. That's what I always talk about. But yet I wasn't doing it. And so I would try this meditation and again, would feel like a failure. So I'm like, that's not for me. I was kind of a dropout. And I would see this, yeah, and that's okay because now I can sit in meditation and actually enjoy it. But usually it's after doing some nervous system regulation work first.
Right.
But at that time, I was also noticing in the people I served, clients, many of them high achieving in various stages of life. And I would see that they were struggling and we were getting more and more engaged in these darn devices, right? This was about 2004, 2005, and people were distracted. And I said, I left the healthcare factory to have a whole hour with people. But
Right.
yet, so I didn't have that 20 minutes, but yet it took 30 to 40 minutes to get people back into their body. They were so disassociated and disconnected. So I would have to do work with them, embodiment practices. And what I first went to was a technique called brain gym. And you mentioned curiosity around that, which I love. And it's brain gym, GYM. And I always spell that out because years ago in my old setting, we had some stickers or some door signs that explained the different services. And one time we had these two ladies walking through the neighborhood, walked in and they're like, we want to buy some of that brain gum, like chewing gum. And I was like, oh goodness, I wish I had some brain gum because wouldn't that be an easy fix, right? So I kept studying the brain gym work. And then that took me back to a lot of the foundational pieces of my occupational therapy training because we're really trained in human development throughout the lifespan.
Right.
And I was finding in these people I served that it wasn't just the aging process that was challenging their balance or their function or whatnot. It was really some of the early developmental pieces that they had completed successfully and integrated were getting tripped up. And so then when I started to do, and all these courses, I had to do a ton of work on myself, right? And so when I started to do it on myself, I was like, oh my goodness, I feel calm. I feel consistent energy, not that revved up kind of energy I have to rah bring up, but energy from deep within that's balanced, that shows up for me and allows me to rest when I need to, right?
Nice.
So truly balanced. And so I kept doing the practice myself. Now, side note, when you dive into nervous system integration work and somatic work, you have to move through some of the mud, I like to say. Like you have to move through some of the icky feelings, some of the icky emotions. And I would sort of race through those at first when I was in the training and we were doing all the labs, all the work on ourselves. I would race through those because, hey, I just want to go out there and be sort of Pollyanna and just push through and let's do this, positive attitude. Well, I found that unless I really got in the mud and worked through some of the negative emotions myself, I couldn't fully get to that integrated place. So I learned a lot about myself.
Yeah.
I continue to share the work with my clients and they're saying, why do I feel so much more relaxed after this type of a movement session that had Pilates and other modalities versus another? And I said, because we're really nourishing your brain and body. We're not just talking about going into a mind-body state or stating affirmations or even, dare I say, breathing exercises, which you can't breathe your way out of a dysregulated nervous system. I always say, if you're tripped up with a Moro reflex tripped up, you're not going to access breath. You're going to keep yourself in fight, flight, freeze.
Interesting.
So going back through developmental movements allows any meditation practice, whether it's breathing exercises, whether it's biofeedback, whether it's visualization, whatever it is, whether it's, any technique that you are wanting to access that you feel drawn to, if you integrate your nervous system, you're going to feel so much more organized.
Got it. If I understand what you're saying, it's like meditation, visualization, breath work, all that stuff is great. But until I do the foundation piece, the step number one, which is what you're saying is nervous system regulation, then my step two of whatever those things are that I choose isn't going to be as effective as it could be. Is that correct?
That is absolutely right. And you said it really well. So think of it this way. If we know people, and I know I had a lot of years of my life where I was walking around in fight, flight, freeze. Now, how does that show up? Anxiety, quick to startle, difficulty sleeping, difficulty concentrating, a lot of self-pressure, perfectionistic tendencies. I could go on, but you get the idea, right? And I know I'm in the recovering perfectionist program. Yeah, right. It's a lot of us entrepreneurs because a lot of entrepreneurs are drawn to this work because they have those character traits. But one of the big, like my big existential question of life is, how can I still be high achieving? How can I support others in being high achieving? Because I'm a former overachiever, but now I'm a high achiever. How can I still be high achieving without wearing my body out and find the ease? Because a lot of times it was just hard work, push, push, push. That was a family value I had. You know, my dad worked 7 days a week, and you know, your work ethic is a big part of who you are. And so pushing, pushing, pushing. So I was really good at that. But as I was sharing, most of us are. So I got really burnt out, right? I got really adrenal fatigue. I had a lot of chronic pain, like I said, the fertility challenges. And it was only by working with some of this work that I was able to get myself to a healthy place. Now, nutrition, nourishment, and lifestyle, there are other pieces too, but all of that you can't even assimilate it if your nervous system's in fight, flight, freeze.
Got it. So let's dive in, because I know this is what everybody wants to know. What is nervous system regulation? And give us a couple of quick things that we can that our audience can do to tap into that.
Yes. So I can't wait. I've got some really easy, quick, yummy tools to share. But let me answer the first question. What is nervous system regulation? Nervous system regulation can be described in a lot of ways, but it's being able to deal with stressors and then come back down and be in that functional place. So I use the story of the saber-toothed tiger a lot. Like a lot of us move through life as if the saber-toothed tiger is right there next to us at our desk. We're typing and there's the saber-toothed tiger because maybe there's a deadline or maybe there's pressure or whatnot. And then even though there might be a big deadline and some pressure and we meet it and then we move beyond, we still act as if the saber-toothed tiger is there because we're dysregulated.
Got it.
We are in that state of fight, flight, freeze. We might feel all those things I described, like we might feel irritable. We might feel it's challenging to focus. We might feel anxious. So that's when we're dysregulated. And a great example is, you know, a toddler has a meltdown and they're dysregulated. Hopefully we're holding space for them to emote and move through it. And then they're comforted, they're soothed. And we hopefully teach them how to self-soothe in appropriate ways. And yet we are never taught as adults that A, it's okay to melt down. That's part of the process. And B, what about self-soothing techniques?
Yeah. Okay.
So you ready for one? You ready for me to teach one? Okay. So one of my absolute favorite ones that's super easy to access is a gentle tapping technique. Now, I do love EFT, emotional freedom technique, but this is different. This is about reflexes and developmental sequences. And just a side note, as I talked about integration and reflexes come online in utero. And with ideal development, they should really fade into the background. They shouldn't always be in the foreground, because when they've done their work and laid the scaffolding for the next level of motor skills and nervous system development, they fade into the background for this example, the fear paralysis reflex, for when it's needed, for when there really is a saber-toothed tiger or a big bus coming that you're not seeing that you need to be aware of.
Okay.
So those close call moments, right? But what happens is life, stress, illness, trauma will trip us up. We'll have those showing up in the foreground. So this tapping exercise is a very soothing cha-cha rhythm. I'm going to teach you the most basic version that you can do several times a day. I can show a longer version that you would do only 1 to 3 times a week, but that would probably be for another time. But this one, you place one hand over the breastbone and the other hand goes over top.
Okay.
And you're just gently going to do a cha-cha motion. You don't have to be a dancer or a musician. I'll talk you through it. You're going to do 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. Pause.
Okay.
Deep breath. Let's switch hands. Other hand on top and doing it again. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. Pause. Deep breath. Let's do it one more time. Crossing over. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. Pause. Deep breath. Now, you could just stop there, or you can go to this next spot. And I like to share these 2 spots with business owners, with entrepreneurs, with the corporate world, because you can do this easily at your desk. You don't have to get up and find a way to reach the bottom of your feet, right?
Right.
So we're now going to slide about a third of the way down our upper arm. You'll feel kind of like a little groove there.
Okay.
And we're going to do the same tapping. Now, quick side note, if tapping revs you up, if you feel it's excitatory to your nervous system, just hold and give little squeezes. Sometimes that tapping isn't quite what we need. And
Okay.
part of nervous system regulation is really tuning into what do I really need in this moment?
Okay.
So right here, we're going to do it again. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. Pause, deep breath. You could switch arms or you can stay where you are. It doesn't matter. It's not a game of Twister. And again, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. Pause, deep breath. One more time. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. Pause, deep breath. So that re-educates very gently your nervous system for the fear paralysis reflex. Now,
Okay, so instead of tapping, if that's exciting to me, then I need to do the squeeze, 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 squeeze. Right.
yeah, I love that you were squeezing in a pattern. You could absolutely do that, but just even a gentle squeeze, like,
Okay.
okay, I'm in my skin, I feel myself. It doesn't have to be squeezing in a pattern. It can just be a little squeeze, just a gentle squeeze and then release, give yourself that deep breath and then squeeze again.
Okay.
So yes, absolutely.
Awesome.
And years ago, I used to say, oh, feel the fear and do it anyway. Push yourself through when I was in that stage of my life, like push hard. But now I say, feel the fear, acknowledge the fear, support it from the inside out, then move forward.
Okay.
Because otherwise, when you accomplish, when you succeed, you're going to be trapping all that fear-based energy with it, right?
Mhm.
And don't we want to feel like, oh my goodness, I just completed this.
Yeah.
Let me take a breather. Let me enjoy this. And if you, in the process, support that fear-based experience, which is very needed, it's human, it's part of our experience, then you're going to move through it with more ease, more gentleness for yourself, and feel more graceful in the process.
Nice. Okay. You were going to show us one more thing.
Yes. So I like to follow the fear paralysis reflex with what's called a hookup. So you can do this seated. You would cross your ankles. You could also do it standing.
Okay.
You're going to bring your arms in front like you're going to clap but miss. So you miss the clap. Yeah. And then turn your palms to face one another. Interlace your fingers and bring them to rest on your front body. And you're just resting there. If you can, place the tongue on the roof of the mouth. And this is called a hookup. And you can think of it like you're hooking up with your most organized self, your most organized, supportive inside, right? And you could hold this for a while. You can do this lying down. I do this a lot at bedtime, or if I wake up in the middle of the night, those hormones are kind of waking me up at times I don't want to wake up. And I'll do the hookup. It's just very calming, very organizing. Then you can stay there as long as you like. Then uncross the legs, uncross the arms, come to phase 2. It could be here or here, and then relax your tongue. This is specifically from Brain Gym, that body of work that I mentioned that I take creative license with and bring into the work. So how would an entrepreneur apply these? Let's say that you are feeling really stressed at the start of your day, or something comes up that derails your plans. You had all of these things that needed to be done in that day, and you get the call that your kiddo's sick and you have to pick them up, or what have you. Or you just have some things come up and time goes by. You spent time answering emails and you didn't get done what you needed to get done. You could do the fear paralysis tapping, even just with the breastbone, or even just touch it if you've already done it earlier, and remind yourself that you are safe. Because a big part of nervous system regulation is feeling safe. And that example with the toddler, they needed to feel safe, that space was being held around them.
Yeah.
We need to feel safe too, and we can create this for ourselves. And then you can invite your family and your community to do it. I have been in charge of meetings, and I invite everyone to do some of these sorts of tools at the beginning of the meeting so we can be fully present and engaged with one another and truly connect from an authentic place.
Nice.
And let's say you just got some really intense news about something in your business, some numbers or something that you were hoping would be different. Take a moment, push away from the screen. Ideally, turn your back from the screen, because screens and devices are very dysregulating to our nervous system.
Right.
Push away and do the hookup.
Okay.
And maybe do the fear. Yeah.
Hold on.
Let's go through that. You're going to bring the arms in front like you're going to clap but miss, then interlace. You got it. And then bring them in. And you would also cross at your ankles. Now, if this is challenging for shoulder, wrist, what have you, you can make an X with your arms. You don't have to be all in that position that is demanding for the wrist and forearms. You can just make an X. And then while you're there, give yourself that little squeeze, remembering that that is the fear paralysis spot and you're just nurturing that.
And
Now,
how long do you hold that?
that's a great question. And I really like to tell people, listen to your body, your mind, your heart space. It will tell you how long to hold it. And I
Okay.
know some people really want a prescription, like hold it
Yeah.
for 3 minutes. So I would say I like to measure it by maybe you could hold it for 3 to 6 long and deep inhales and exhales, and then move on.
Okay.
But you can really, the more you do it, you'll be like, oh, I'm going to hold this for a while. Sometimes, to be honest, I feel like I could hold a hookup for 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Sometimes if I'm really fatigued and I have just a few minutes, I will take that hookup, put myself in it, and then just bring myself to phase 2 and then just rest for a few moments, set the timer on my phone in case I do doze off, set
Right.
it for 5 minutes, and I just feel a little bit of restoration.
Love it. Love it. Oh my gosh. And I know we're bumping up on 30 minutes, but I want to get to
Ooh,
one more thing.
yeah.
So, and I'm preparing at 1 a.m. when my body wakes me up because I'm doing the hormonal thing too, Kelly, that
Yes.
I'm going to do the hookup thing and I'll let you know how it goes.
Yes, please do.
Yeah, I'm
Yes.
excited about that. Okay. So how can this affect creativity for the things we want to create in our business?
Oh, yes. I think most of us are entrepreneurs because we have a creative spirit, right? I know I'm a super creative person. I always have different things I'm writing, different workshops, courses, what have you.
Mhm.
But sometimes we can't get into our most innate, authentic creativity because the stress, like when it's time to be creative, the saber-toothed tiger is right there, uninvited, of course, but the saber-toothed tiger is there.
Yeah.
So what we can do is organize ourselves, take 5 minutes to do some moving meditations. You know, this fear paralysis and some other tools are in my inner peace free gift that I have for people if they're interested. But sit down and do a couple of those things before they go into their creative moment. Take a moment to do something called PACE, which stands for positive, active, clear, and energized, which is so important before you go into a creative space. Now, honestly, I like to take people, if they're really working on a creative project, I work with a lot of performers and artists and writers. I'll prepare for them a 20-minute sequence, or they'll access in some of my different offerings sequences that are 20 to 45 minutes of moving meditation where they move through those intense, icky emotions, but then come back to the integrated cross body movement opportunity that brings you back to that whole self. Because when we are our most creative, our right and left side of our brain are working as a team. A lot of people will say, oh, I'm very creative, I'm right brain. Or they'll go, oh, I'm very linear, I'm left brain. What they're really saying is when I'm under stress, I flip to 1. Through my whole upbringing, I would flip to left brain, super like, okay, got to get organized, got to get regimented, list upon list upon list.
Me
But
too.
I'm super creative. That's where my joy spot is.
Yeah.
When I can really access that right brain creativity is when my right and left brain are playing well together. In other words, my nervous system is well nourished, attended to, and integrated.
Nice. Nice. That is fascinating. I love that. So
I think so.
yeah, I didn't know that if we are being super creative, we're using both sides of our brain. I think that's really cool. All right. So I know we could go on for so long and everybody wants to know more about you. You've got a free gift for us. Jill just put the link to it in the chat. Do you want to tell everybody what the free gift is?
Sure, absolutely. I know that entrepreneurs run into anxiety on the regular, stress and anxiety. So I've put together, there's 3 short videos that fear paralysis reflexes in there, just at the breastbone and the upper arms. And then if you're interested, you want the deeper one, just reach out to me. I'll connect you to a video for that. And then I teach an EFT tapping sequence, if you're familiar with that, but it's a little bit unique in that we're layering a multisensory experience. So there's eye movements, there's sounding, because the nervous system needs a multisensory experience to move through that fight, flight, freeze and get to that calm, grounded place. And then I also bring in sort of a self-touch, self-led nervous system regulation through neurofascial processing. It's almost like a meditation you could do right before bed. I take you through some organ connections, which would happen to be kidneys and adrenals. That's where we see a lot of depletion from fight, flight, freeze. And panic is going to show up in kidneys. Anxiety is going to show up in kidneys. And so I just teach a very gentle, self-calming technique that you can do again before bed. Anytime you just want to acknowledge that connection of the brain body. And I'm going to throw in there the visceral system because the organs are definitely involved. So yeah.
Nice. Let me check the comments really fast.
Sure.
Lots of great comments coming through. Teresa and Cynthia are so happy to be here, and they've learned a lot from you so far. And I know everybody that's going to watch on replay, they're going to love it too. Kelly, where should everybody find you to connect with you? What's the best way to do that?
So the best way is Instagram is where I hang out a lot, and that's inspired the #2 wellness, Kelly Hale, and then also Facebook Kelly Hale, and then my website inspiredwell.com. And I am so grateful to share. I love this community. I love what they're doing. You can just feel the forward motion that you help to set, and then people in this group growing and learning together. And it's the process that I love seeing. And that's where I feel like really embracing the nervous system regulation with the process allows for not just the outcome to be great, but for the process to be enjoyable. Because isn't that what it's about?
Yes.
It's not about all the next offerings and sales that we have or whatnot. It's about, can we enjoy the process, right?
Right. Yes, I agree with you 100%, because otherwise, why are we doing it? You know, I left corporate America because I wasn't enjoying the process. Why would I want to come into the entrepreneurial space and build something that I don't enjoy? That just, that doesn't make any sense.
Right.
Oh my goodness. This has been so cool. My friends, if you are loving this content, I want you to save this video into your favorites, create your own library of awesome videos, especially ones like with exercises like what Kelly taught us, where you could go back and watch it again and do the exercises with us. Come into my free Facebook group. If you're not a member, you need to be a member. It's called Be a Confident Entrepreneur, Get Visible, Grow Your Email List and Your Income. There are 2,500 entrepreneurs just like Kelly that are all building the same way you and I are. And you hear me say this every single week. Being an entrepreneur is freaking hard, right? Some days, everybody thinks you're the bee's knees. Other days, nobody's knocking on your door and you're thinking you're going to have to go back to corporate. But I'm telling you, get into a community and a group like mine. I believe it is the best free Facebook group on the platform. You can get help with anything you need. We have experts on every topic. As you can see, we have somebody like Kelly who can help you regulate your body. We've got podcast experts, website experts. I'm in there for marketing and sales and visibility. And it's just this great community of support and collaboration where you could set coffee chats with people, and you never know where those connections are going to lead. So remember, I say this every single week, don't go it alone. Get into a community, because if you think you're alone, feeling overwhelmed, feeling imposter syndrome, feeling the stress that Kelly and I were talking about, you're not. We all feel that way. And when you get into a community like mine, you understand that is absolutely true. And it feels easier to handle every single day. I want you to have a great balance of the week and weekend. And I want to remind you that when one of us rises, we all rise. So that is why we have to keep cheering each other on. Kelly, thank you again so much. You've brought so much value to this community.
Oh, it's my pleasure. It's a true honor, and that community aspect is huge. So I'm just grateful you're providing such an amazing, supportive community.
Thank you. All right, my friends, I will see you next week, Thursday at 11:30. Actually, no, I won't. I'm lying. We are leaving for Spain. And Jill, my assistant, probably just went, "No, you're not. Liar, liar, pants on fire." So we are leaving for Spain next week. If you know me well, you know that our son has been studying in Madrid this semester. So we are leaving, and we are going to be in Spain with him through the end of the month. So the next 2 Thursdays, don't miss, but we're going to give you some great stuff from the vault that you can watch. And if you're in this community, you may see me, you may not. I'll be popping in and out, but I want y'all to take care of each other. Back in the fall when my father passed away and I had to sort of step out for a couple of weeks, I watched like a fly on the wall, our group love on each other and support each other. And so I know that's going to happen again. I just got chill bumps But then I will be back, and we'll be ready in April to launch Business Visibility Made Easy. The 7th launch of this program is coming up in April. I'm so excited about it. That reminds me, if you're not on the wait list, you need to be on the wait list, because the first wait list email is going to go out April 6th, and waitlisters get some extra goodies that nobody else gets when they buy before the doors officially open. So go to tracybeavers.com/BVME for Business Visibility Made Easy. Check out all the details of the program. The pricing is not on there because it is a waitlist page, but I'll just go ahead and tell you, it's an 8-week group coaching program for $997. You get 4 massive, awesome modules of everything you need for visibility, for email list growth, plus 8 weeks of coaching with me, where I'm on live with you every Tuesday morning and I answer every single question. Ask any student of mine, they will tell you. I don't care if I have to be on there for 2 hours. I will answer all of the questions from everybody in that program. So sorry I got on my soapbox about that, but I just realized I'm not going to be here next week. And when I come back, we're going to be launching the program. So thank you, Kelly. Thank you again so much.
Thank you.
All right. Y'all have a great rest of the week. I'll see you soon.